Welcome back to Factorio, Angels and Bobs version, and it's time to go to blast furnaces. Yep, we can upgrade our furnaces all the way into Angels mods, which are these two tabs, Metallurgy Smelting and Metallurgy Casting. What do? Well, we take our ore, and I've separated it now into two separate lines, just using filter inserters, so nothing we haven't seen. They're not running at the moment just because the iron ore is backed up, but that won't be the case for very long. So I've just got one here that pushes copper onto this top line, and the same all the way along. The bottom line just has iron. And between the two here and between the two here, I have the slag being brought out, merged into one, and just brought to this warehouse. So we shouldn't ever get ore traveling down here to this other warehouse. I'll have to figure out how to send it back again afterwards, just some filter inserts, some belts, and hopefully everything will be cleaned up that way. So I've already placed one down, so you get the idea. I'm going to place another one down manually, just so you know what's going on. To start with, we want the, in fact, I'm going to start with the induction furnace. We don't have to, but I'm just going to rotate it to point this way as the output. Then when you leave a gap of 1, because we need some inserters, and place down the blast furnace. And that's right from here, blast furnace mark 1. Blast furnace mark 2 needs clay bricks. Don't worry, we'll come to that. Okay, and on top here we want another one with a single row gap, and we're going to need some pipe, and then we need the last component, which is down here, these casting machine mark 1s. I've got 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, and then the same here. We want some more pipes, so let's just make some more of that. Nothing excessive. And we're going to need some power poles, of course. I may as well queue up, yeah, about 10 of those. All right, so let's actually just mirror this across. Well, not mirror, but close enough. That's actually enough, I think, to power everything. Yeah, there we go. And we want to output from this blast furnace into this way and to this way. Doesn't have to be 2, in fact, in that particular case, but that's good enough to start. And then we want to output from each of these. Did I put 1? 2, I think I did. So 2, like this. And then we can put the final power poles in. Same thing, we've already got power poles here, so we can just do the same thing here, 2 of each. And then some belt. Some belt at the top. And it's going to come down this side. Merge with this one. And then we've then got this second line. Now this is going to be our iron line. So it's going to come all the way across. I've already cleared out the trees using our nanobots. Get them all the way across and then straight down. It's going to rejoin right about here. In fact, I've used up all the previous ones. We've cut off these furnaces, so I can take this off like this. And we do have to bring some back for steel. So I'm going to put something down here and just loop back on ourselves. There we go. That's, oops, not like that. You do need that last piece. That's going to work fine. Okay. Now for the setup itself. What's going on? Well, what's going on is we've got a blast furnace that's going to take iron ore in, and it's going to convert it into iron ingots. Let's go and pop over. Okay, so iron ingots. In 4 seconds, it's going to take 24 and convert into 24. Really simple, 4 seconds. So we're going to get with 24 iron ingots. In here, we can choose iron as well. It's also going to take 4 seconds, but only takes 12 iron ingots. So we're going to need 2 of these. All right, and from those, we're going to turn out, remember, this is 120 every 4 seconds. This takes 40 every 4 seconds. So everything's really, really nicely set up. So we just need 3 of these. Let me just grab you and paste you. And then all we need to do, I think, is just feed it some stuff. It's going to take coal and it's going to take iron ore. So we need To feed it some coal. I'm not sure how much is needed, but let's put those in. And then we're going to feed it iron ore as well, and some power. And that should be enough to get it started. So it's feeding in. Once it reaches 24, it should then start transferring into the furnace, which it just did. Furnace starts up. It's going to go out into the pipe, and there's no pipe at the bottom here. Need to have some pipe at the top. And one short. It's about typical. There we go. As you can see, already the iron plates are popping out. They're both on the same side at the moment, which is not what I want. So I'm just going to, for argument's sake, just going to merge them just with a splitter in sort of a reverse way. That should be just fine once it finishes. There we go. And they're both merging onto the same side of the line. Never mind. I'll do it the other way. There we go. Fine? Yeah, I think so. So we've got one line now that does iron ore. The other line that's going to do copper as well. The only reason copper was held up is because iron ore was held up. So they are reliant, because of these sorting machines, they are reliant on both inputs being working. But we now have two lines, and they come down here and make it all the way into, well, one, our steel, but also the rest of our iron stuff. So that means this setup in the middle is redundant now. We can take this deconstruction planner. It's going to have issues, I think, because of my inventory size, but we can take it and say, we no longer need any of you. All of that can go. And at this point, the nanobots are probably going to run out. they usually, let's just see, construction bots. Even if I make more, you'll see the total down there in the bottom right. They're also removing power poles, which I forgot about. So our entire base is just going to get a little bit destroyed, but it's fine. We can just put those power poles back. Is that all I need? Just a connection that's this way, so let's just run it this way. And put these back. Just one connection should be enough. And probably here as well. There we go. Everything else starts disappearing. This is why I like bots, but at the same time, we're about to run out of hard drive space. We're about to run out of player inventory space. Yes, and they'll keep on trying to insert, so we need to put them somewhere. Thankfully, I have, I guess, a warehouse I can get rid of ores into for the moment. And that's looking much cleaner. I also changed over to use carbon for the fuel for these. So you'll notice it's changed over to carbon here instead of coal. If I did need coal explicitly for carbon dioxide and things like that, I've not touched that. But all the way over here, it was just being used for furnaces, and for furnaces here for steel. Hasn't been used for anything else yet. So we should be okay using carbon, I think. And as you can see, we've got a much nicer flow of iron and carbon. Okay, let's look at clay bricks. Clay bricks are the upgrade, or the upgrade ingredient for many of the Mark II tier of stuff that we want, including the ore sorters and pretty much everything else that we want. So, to get started with those, we've got to build a bit of infrastructure. We've got to build something that's quite different from what we've done before. Let's go into unburnt clay bricks. We need clay, sand, and lime. Let's start out with lime. Okay, so that comes from limestone, which is made in a blast furnace. Okay, and we're going to get carbon dioxide out, so we may be able to pipe that carbon dioxide over down there somewhere, wherever we used it to make carbon. That might be a use for it. We also, that's the only way to make it as well, so we only need limestone. And limestone we've got to get out of washing plants, and we've got to get it out of light mud water, which comes from concentrated mud water, which comes from heavy mud water, which comes from viscous mud water, and then viscous mud water, it doesn't say. It says you can just add mud to water. But how do we get mud? We get it from viscous mud water. among other things. So it sounds a bit circular, but it's not. It just doesn't tell you how you start the chain. So to start the chain, you put in an offshore pump like this. Seafloor pump even, sorry. And if we put a couple of pipes on it, you'll see that it's now filled with viscous mud water. We're also going to need some water as well, I suspect, but we'll come back to that. We're going to need some washing plants, and I think I've gone and made a few. Yep. Okay, so as you can see, they're quite large, and we need to rotate them. That's a good point, actually. So we need to rotate them in a certain direction. And let me actually just put this on my toolbar. Okay. So it's now saying, what do you want to make? So in this case, our products, this is going to be heavy. So it wants water in this side. That's all well and good. That's exactly what we expect. Let me just remove this power pole. And then I'm going to put a few more. 4. Let's see if these can all line up. So from this one, then the next thing we want is, this makes heavy, so we want the second one. You want the third one. We want the fourth one. I think we can go on further. Let me just put that on and just say saline water. Yeah, we can go on further if we want to. But that's not quite right because I think we need to space these out. I think we need to have one space in between them just so I can extract stuff. So, oops. One, put one there, one there, one there. It seems reasonable. And then we can connect them pipes. We need some more pipes, so I may as well. I'm probably going to need more than this, so I'm probably going to have to go back for more stone bricks. But the idea should start off fairly fine. So if we pop a power pole next to each one. All they should need now is some water. So let me go and grab... do I have a pump on me? Not one of those. I want one of the offshore pumps. And we'll grab it from just below here. Surprisingly, this seafloor pump can grab entirely different materials to the normal pump. So that is okay there. And then, you know, we're going to be coming up this way. There we go. I'm going to go and get some more ingredients. Be right back. All right, so the offshore pump is hooked up and it does need power. So we've got water coming in this side and then all the entire chain going through, all the way through to thin mud water. I could take it one further, I guess, but I'm not going to need it just yet, so we'll leave that there. Stepping one step back, however, from light mud water, and these all have mud in them, by the way, so we need to offload that mud somewhere. Actually, I think I'm going to go... Let's disconnect you for a second. Yeah, so I think we can do it fairly predictably from this side. The bottom slots here should always be mud, I think, on this particular row. So then we can just... we can belt that off somewhere. Let's just remove these lights for a second. I'll move them later. What's there, a tree? There we go. And we'll just box it for now, shall we? Let's put you there. It's just mud. Not sure if we're going to need it, but if we do, we have a box available. So, from this 239 light mud water, we're going to need to make something else. We need to make limestone. So we can take the light mud water and convert it into limestone. You'll see I've got a parallel water line running here. So we can then pull limestone from the top and we can put it into a box or something else. Doesn't much matter. So let's look at this. So we needed lime. We're also going to need sand. So sand needs thin mud water. Okay, so I guess what we could do is if I have 2 washing plants. Oh, do I have 2 washing plants? Should be in my inventory somewhere if I do. I have 4. Okay, so if I'm going to put one here to get the next product, I'm going to need to unload that limestone somehow. So we need to go the other direction, I guess. That'll be fine. So let's just choose thin mud water. No, we've already got that. So we've got to choose the next one up. Saline. Okay. And then next to it, we can put what we actually wanted from that product. So we can just put you down. Oh, those are the wrong way around. Suppose I could rotate them, but that's not a big deal. Saline. And we want sand. And then, because this is a dead end, it's not going to connect with that. So I think we can just use regular pipe. Hopefully. Yep. But we do need to connect. We need another pipe. Pipe to ground. That to feed water in. So you're now making sand. You're now making limestone. Good, that's 2 of the 3 things. We also need clay. And we need double the amount of clay than the others. But because this isn't going on a belt somewhere, it doesn't matter that much as long as it doesn't block everything else back up. So we're going to get, and let me just double check, each of these every 5 seconds, I think they are, 4 seconds in the case of limestone. Okay, so we get 3 clay every 5 seconds from concentrated mud and water. Okay, so concentrated is back here somewhere. Yep, there we go. So we need to feed out of this one and then sideways again. So let's just grab another wash plant. And we want clay. And I'm going to need to put in another couple of those. Another pipe. There we go. So that should pass through just fine. So we've got clay. That's not connected. Good. We've got clay, we've got limestone, we've got sand. Once I connect up this pipe. Do I have a pipe to ground? Or I can just use regular pipe, to be honest. Let's use regular pipe. Make it a bit easier to see. There we go. So we've got these 3. They can be made into unburnt clay brick in a regular assembly machine of some kind. Doesn't matter which type, so I'm not going to be too specific. Let's just load it into, say, here. Let me say clay. Big direct insert from the middle, and then we can, I don't know, doesn't really much matter on the others. Again, because this is only going to be upgraded for machines, it's not going to need high throughput, so we don't have to worry about it that much, I don't think. At least I hope not. Otherwise, this might go a little bit wrong. So we've got clay coming in at that end. More power poles. Sand coming at that end, and then direct inserting from this. Okay. Why aren't you extracting? Oh, that's limestone. I need lime. Fine. Let's just take you back up again. I need limestone. Lime even. So let's just take a look. Lime. I need to put it into a blast furnace. Which means I'm going to need coal. Yeah, coal. So what I could do is just ship it somewhere else. Could ship it down this way somewhere. well, when I say coal, carbon will do just as well. So we could ship an extension of carbon off this way. That looks like a possibility. Let me go and do that. Let me see if we can sort it out. Okay, so we've got some carbon coming in. And that's going to get picked up. So the blast furnace is going to come online. That's going to make lime. We're going to need to get rid of the carbon dioxide as well, but that'll be less of an issue. I'm just going to... That's going to come this way, isn't it? So I guess we can rotate that. We can, but upwards is fine. Let me just bring our other ingredients this way. Do I have any spare lamps? I think I do. Let's just pop another lamp in there. Okay, and then we want another pipe to ground. All right, and we're going to have carbon dioxide running this way. So there's a few things we can do for carbon dioxide. What tanks do we have? We have regular tanks. Petrochemical oil tank. No. Okay, so just the storage tank then. I'm just going to make one of those. And what about valves? Do we have any valves yet? A valve. I was kind of hoping for more advanced versions. I guess I've not researched them yet. We can do something with that as well. But for now, I'm just going to tank up this carbon dioxide. There we go. That's building nicely. So we should be able to just insert into here. Put in an extra power pole. And this should start manufacturing. Good, it is. Right, so we're now going to get unburnt clay bricks from that. So we need to feed those into a furnace. And thankfully, we have some fuel right here. So I can just split that off. Or in this case, I'm not going to need that many of them. So I guess we could just fill this up with coal. There we go. We're going to get clay bricks, which we can then box up. So put it up here in a steel box or an iron box, doesn't really matter. There we go. We've got clay bricks. Great. And as you can see, we need to use them for all kinds of recipes. Ore crusher Mark IIs, ore sorting facility Mark IIs, washing plant Mark II. So now we can re-upgrade all of these if we wanted to. We've got all the rest of the ingredients, and we could just use the previous tier of washing plant, and that'll get us the next tier up. Fair enough. Induction furnace Mark IIs, so we can speed that up. Filtration units, crystallizers, cooling towers, casting machines. Yeah, so a lot of this. And in fact, we can even upgrade this blast furnace right here. So yeah, I do like that a lot. This setup is quite nice and quite compact. At least compact for Angels and Bob standards. And just to close out the episode, just wanted to show that you can actually tile this design just fine. The only thing you gotta watch out is this bit here in the middle. And I probably needed a bit more vertical space. I had to do a bit of rerouting of the belt to get everything working fine, but it does work. It's just that I needed a bit more space. But yeah, you can tile it well, not as many times as you like, but you can tile it 2 or 3 times easily, because otherwise it's going to hit this belt, and this belt is going to be the limiting factor, because as soon as you try and put more on this belt can support, it's going to have a few problems. And in fact, the problem at the moment is that we're backed up on the copper. So the copper's backed up, and this is a problem with these ore sorters. So maybe a more advanced setup will sort that out. There are more advanced tiers than just these ore sorters, involving, I think, purified, let's just have iron ore. I was looking at this a little while ago. So we can make, let's go back a few more. There we go. Purified saphirite creates 3 iron ore, 2 copper ore, a silicon, nickel, titanium, and zinc, all from the saphirite. We don't have thermal refining yet, but if we go step back 1 level, we don't have that yet. So step back 1 level, we maybe can get that one. But if we go back here, we can get to crushed sapphirite, which is what we know we already have. Purified water we can make. That's just steam in a cooling tower, which we can make. And out of it we get sapphirite chunks, and they will get us 2 iron ore, 1 copper ore. So that's like a more advanced version of what we've got before we get to the end game stuff. And it will also give us silicon and nickel as well as slag, but this doesn't separate out the outputs. They're not entirely independent of each other. So I need some kind of solution where if something is backed up, then the other one will still continue processing. And a buffer's an easy way to do that, but I don't think there's any other way. I can't think of any. Put something in the comments below if you can think of another way of doing it that's better than a huge buffer, because that's, you know, that's easy enough. I can just have a warehouse. Yeah, let's just make one. I can just put a warehouse here on whichever I think will back up, and just have something along the lines of this. And then, yeah, that's not quite going to work, but just put the warehouse in place. Okay, so that's going to start buffering copper, and then at the other side, all that we do is do something along this sort of line. And put a belt in. That needs to go one further across, but never mind. So we can do that kind of thing. That is sort of an inline buffer. I don't like doing it. But the amount of room that we get in here does mean that that should last for some time. If you can think of a better way, by all means correct me. I would love to see it. In the meantime, the iron ore starts flowing, and so does the slag. And then we've got to do something with that slag. Probably turn it into crushed stone or deal with it some other way. But that's it for this episode, I think. We've got blast furnaces sorted out. We've got clay bricks, and I can go over to those clay bricks now and see how many it's made. It probably have made hundreds by this point. I think I limited it to a few stacks, but it will be fine. It's an entirely independent setup. The only thing it needs is water from these 2 different pumps and fuel from our carbon factory. And let me just double check, make sure that can keep up with all of this. It looks like it can. Yeah, so we don't have to worry too much about that carbon, as long as my power is still good. Yeah, still fine. Let's pop over here. How many clay bricks have we got? 800. That should do for the near future. And I can go and make Mark IIs. Just be careful when you upgrade to Mark IIs, though, that, again, you try and upgrade everything at once so that you don't unbalance things when you do it. So I can have a look at these, and then we can see just how fast we can get this going. But again, that's going to exacerbate the problem with this buffer. So, look forward to seeing your comments. Feel free to thumbs up if you've seen it, if you liked it, and subscribe and share as normal. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.